Well, hello there and welcome to the Second Life Book Club. My name is Draxtor Dupre, and we've been listening to a track called I Will Not Desert You from my second solo album. And if you want to support me, you go out there now and you buy the album, okay? Don't just stream it. Don't stream. Don't stream for I stream. Hello, Kitten Do on the chat, on the YouTube, and Petra Vervene. Um, and in world, let's see who we have. Let me pull back the camera. Let's see who we have here. Let's actually first stop the music. We have my friend Gustav, who's my doggy. We got Jared the bot, who's a bot. And we got Bunny McCloud, Little Brad, and Silas Starchild. Welcome, everyone. This is the last of the summer shows, of the summer get-togethers, the informal hangouts. And next week we're going back to normal booked guests. All guests are booked until summer 2023, and you can look at the calendar at draxler.com/SL Book Club, and you will find a lot of amazing authors. Now, this is interesting because I am overworked. I acknowledge that. And I was not burnt out, but I was close to kind of like acknowledging, hey, I need some more, I need better work-life balance as a 52-year-old man. And I bought a bicycle, and now I'm riding my bike every morning for an hour. And it feels really good. And then I realized, okay, I need to thin out the Second Life book club to do bi-weekly, right? And I did that, and I felt like, oh my God, can we really do bi-weekly? There's so much stuff. It's so awesome. And I said, no, I'm going to do it. And now people are approaching me, highest caliber, especially nonfiction, social research folks, social science researchers. And my wife recommended an author, and I was like, God damn it. Okay, let's just book them. And so I wanted to thin it out to biweekly and have it basically sandwiched between the big guests, which do demand a lot of preparation, with the informal hangouts, which don't demand that much preparation. So I booked, for example, and you can see this reflected in the calendar. I booked an author my wife recently read, Angela Saini. She wrote a book called The Patriarchs: How Men Came to Rule. So this is about the patriarchy. She wrote a whole bunch of other books which are fascinating. She wrote a book called Superior about the return of race science. How is racism lodged inside the inside academia? Um, and how is this stuff popularized in popular culture. She wrote a book called Inferior: How Science Got Women Wrong, and the new research that's rewriting the story. So Angela Sawini, did I just post the link here? Yes, I did. Um, a guest I'm very much looking forward to. And then, of course, a lot of literary folks. But so that's the deal that's happening. And next week, we're going to get to that. The first guest, who is going to be the first guest, because I'm going to tease that first guest with a little reading. Now, first, I would like to know from you guys, what are you reading right now? If you're not reading, why are you not reading? No, what are you reading right now? What are you excited about? You can, of course, talk about what last week. I know that Bunny was reading The Wall. I'm not getting tired of The Wall until everybody has read it. Marlene Haushofer. I hear the movie is good, but again, the book really, I mean, the original thing was a book. The original offering was a book, and The Wall again is about a woman who gets wakes up one morning in a little hut in a cabin in the woods, nice summer day, walks outside the hut, wants to walk into the forest, wonders where are her friends, and she discovers she is trapped by an invisible wall. And nobody knows what this is. Is it a post-apocalyptic event? Are the aliens coming? Did she sleep for a year and was kind of boxed in with an invisible wall of some incredible strength, strong material? It's not your typical sci-fi novel because it the your desire to find out which aliens brought the wall down, which every sci-fi reader is kind of conditioned to the first question you want to ask, or the Stephen King readers among us, this question becomes irrelevant, and other questions come to the forefront, and that's pretty brilliant. So anyway, I see little Brett and Bunny McCloud typing, and then they don't say nothing. Um, okay, about to start reading Delicious in Dungeon, book one by Ryoko Kui. Little Brett, elaborate a little bit what this is. Um, and I want everybody to chime in. If you want to chime in voice, that'd be fine. Tell us a little bit what that is. I recently learned that you're kind of obsessed with Ryoko Kui. I'm not familiar with that person. So, do you want to enlighten us a little bit? And then we'll get over to Bunny McCloud and her mentioning of the necessity of violence, or arcane history of the Oxford Translators Revolution by R.F. Kuang. Wow, that sounds interesting because I don't think violence is necessary, except for the revolution. Little Brett?
Um, I know extremely little about this series, but it's a manga series.
Manga. What is the appeal of manga? Please tell me. My son is manga obsessed. He's constantly pushing manga on me. Actually, he's pushing One Piece on me. Well, okay, interesting. One Piece is manga, right?
Well, to be like perfectly honest, my first appeal of it was that you read it from right to left. With
Yes, yes. So
perfect
interesting.
since
So
I'm
you were not,
left-handed.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it was just perfect for me since I'm left-handed.
That is awesome. That this little I love this. So you were like, yeah, I know there's like I'm not the visual aesthetic doesn't appeal to me. Well, that's secondary. Number one is you read it from right to left. You read it backwards, and that's awesome.
Yeah. When I was a child and started to learn to write, I was constantly writing from right to left, uh, not like mirror.
Yeah, yeah. Not mirrored, but
Uh,
I know you wrote from right to left, but not in mirrored letters.
yeah. So yeah, that's why. Uh, but it I have no idea what it is about really. I uh, I don't
Okay,
know.
so when I say, but but you know now a little bit about manga. And if I come here as an ignorant person, go like, yeah, manga, it's always the same. It's always the same stories about. I actually don't know, but what would you say? Is there like something, a common thread between all of them you read? Is there kind of a similarity? Like, is it, in terms of this genre, like horror, we know horror is very broad. There's a lot of stuff happening in horror, but one thing that horror has in common, which is there is something horrible happening, something scary is happening. So what would be the thing that unites all manga? Is there such a thing?
Um, I,
It's always happening in
well,
Japan.
uh, yeah, they seem to be always happening in Japan, but that's mostly because manga is from Japan, and I have only read manga by Japanese writers so far.
Right, right.
So I think if it's someone that writes a manga book from a different country, it might be happening some
That is happening.
places.
Oh yeah, like rap. Rap originated in the United States, but now there's rap all over the world. Okay, I'm gonna read real quick here because Wikipedia is my best friend, little Brett. You didn't know this, did you? You thought the Oxford English Dictionary is my best friend, but or here it says manga are comics or graphic novels originating from Japan. Most manga conform to a style that was developed in the late 19th century. So this is the art style that is used. Um, Now I'm going to skim through this article, and it says it's mostly black and white. But I am interested in what are the stories about? Is there a commonality in the stories? Here it says history and characteristics. Okay, this goes back a long time. And then boys and young men read this, and then the roles of girls and women in manga for male readers has evolved considerably over time to include those featuring single pretty girls. Stories where such girls and women surround the hero, as in Negima and Hanayuko May team, or groups of heavily armed female warriors. See, this is when I superficially look at it. Um, that's what I would say as somebody who does not know what's going on. I would say, yeah, it's like always there's this action and lots of fights and stuff, and women are always kind of protected by heroes. Is that the case?
With all mangas, you mean?
Yes.
I think mangas can be just as different as all other books.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My
Mm-hmm.
my favorite manga writer is Junji Ito. He writes only horror horror books,
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of different horror. And then there is another series I read that is uh, like a girly type of series. So it
Right.
can be different.
And then is for children, Kodomomuke, manga targeted at young children, the complete cheese sweet home fluffy fluffy cinema roll and Pokemon. I just found that. So okay, let I just wanted to display my absolute ignorance, which I'm not proud of or anything, but I think what you're saying and what is pretty obvious is that while the manga shelves may look very similar because the visual aesthetic comes from this tradition, the actual stories and the subject matter and what's happening in these stories can be very wide. Like you were saying, horror, and I'm just skimming here through this article. Um, Here it says there's no rule stating that a grown man cannot read a shoujo series, or likewise a teen girl cannot enjoy a seinen series. It all boils down to personal taste. So they're talking about these different styles that are targeted towards different age groups, but it looks to me that it's not always about, um, I don't know, cyborg superheroes or Pokemon or whatever. I need to really educate myself about this more because you're not educating me, little Brett. You're just reading something because it's from right to left. Now let's move on to the other person in this class because Jared Bot is just a bot, and Flenza Jurgens here in the back, he's very quiet. He doesn't say anything. Flenza, what are you reading? I'm gonna ask you one last time, and then you'll get an F in the Draxtor class. Bunny is reading a book called Babel, or The Necessity of Violence, an Arcane History of the Oxford's Translator's Revolution. So please elaborate if you like. Bunny, either in voice or in text. Tell us a little bit about this. What is this about, and why are you attracted to it? Is this a um, nonfiction book or is this a novel? It looks to me
It,
like this a
it
novel.
is
Go
a
ahead. Yeah.
it is a novel. It, I read that it reminds people a bit of The Secret History from Donna Tartt about 20, 30 years ago that I read that. So
Oh,
that's giving away my age. It's dark academia and it seems to be very popular at the moment.
dark
And it,
academia.
yeah,
Is that a genre now?
that is a big genre, especially in the young adult population book
Wow.
reading.
So this is by Rebecca F. Kwang, who now I obviously need to approach in my function as the host of the most popular metaverse book program there ever was. This is how I'm going to address my email to her. Hello, RF Kwang. One of our esteemed members of the book club alerted me to your book, Babel, or the Necessity of Violence, an Arcane History of the Oxford Translator's Revolution. I happen to be the most well-known and most famous and most humble host of of a metaverse book club that ever was, and I would like you to invite you. Should I do that, Bunny? Is that a
Uh,
good formulation of the
you,
email to her?
you can find her on Twitter. She's quite active on Twitter. I found out this week. Maybe in a week or two, I can tell you more about the book.
Awesome. I'm going to read the little blurb I found here on Goodreads. This looks really cool. The cover is very cool. Let me cut and paste
Oh,
this. If somebody is on YouTube, I can't do it at the same time, unfortunately. Please paste it into YouTube.
I will.
I'm going to read the blurb here. It's 1828. Robin Swift. We should throw up the God, I need to have a screen where I just put it up here visually, right? I mean, doesn't this have no media screen? Hold on, let me do this in real time. We're in Second Life after all. This is completely ridiculous that we cannot bring the internet into Second Life, am I right? So I'm going to put a media screen, boom, bada bing, in real time. And now I should be able to see this here, or why don't I see it? Oh, this is Draxter's building class. Hold on. 1 second. Ah, it's hidden behind the. Okay, well, anyway, we're in a cramped space. I could do it this way. I'm going to create a prim, and then I'm going to put the web page on the top of the prim for a little variety. And Kitten, who's watching this, she's laughing. She's going like, "Oh my God, I knew that Draxter can't build, but that is pretty embarrassing after 15 years in Second Life. He really cannot build. He was not even kidding." So now this should bring up the web page. Here we go. This worked. And now Gustav is sticking his butt out of the thing. Here, I just want to show you this cover. So R.F. Kuang, Babel, or the Necessity of Violence, an Arcane History of the Oxford Translators Revolution. We can do the same thing. Put the name of your manga author back in the local chat, please, little Brett. Then I can put it up here too. So I'm going to read this blurb here. 1828. Robin Swift, orphaned by cholera in Canton, is brought to London by the mysterious Professor Lovell. There, he trains for years in Latin, ancient Greek, and Chinese, all in preparation for the day he enroll in Oxford University's prestigious Royal Institute of Translation, also known as Babel. Babel is the world's center of translation and, more important, of silverworking, the art of manifesting the meaning lost in translation. Ah, so what is that genre again, Bunny? You were saying what is the term that they use for this genre? Because isn't couldn't this be steampunk or silk punk?
And no, for books and everything, and especially the aesthetic, they use dark academia.
Dark academia. Okay. So it's like an alternate history that is playing in the realms of academia, or not alternate, but like right? And then ah. And what attracted you to this book?
The reference to the Secret History by Donna Tartt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I read that a very long time ago, and especially things like British academia,
Mm-hmm.
Oxford, history,
Mm-hmm.
language. I studied English when so many years ago, so that's why.
Is there a so Secret History, Donna Tartt? I'm gonna put this up here since we have it now. Is there are there like I don't know like myths and like little conspiracies around Oxford, what's happening there actually, behind the scenes, and is that kind of then attractive to kind of like hear more stories about that there's not just, you know, uh elitist little brats that have too much money that study there, but there's actually something more nefarious going on?
Something like the Skulls and Bones
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
States. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Not. Yeah, not that I know. I really don't know.
Hmm.
So
Because that would attract, that's what I always find interesting when there is a place in the real world that you infer something that's going on underneath, and then authors find a way to put their stories, their imagination on top of that place. Um, well, the Illuminati trilogy is not a perfect example because that taps into the anxiety over the Illuminati conspiracy. That's a novel from the 70s by Robert Shear. It's absolutely amazing. I reference it all the time. But thank you, Bunny. This sounds really interesting, and thank you because I'm going to approach the author and hope that she, now that we have a little bit of a reputation here with some big names, right?
oh, just do.
Now, Roxy. Oops. Wait, Gustav is hovering here. Roxy, if you like, and Flenser as well, if you want to share what you're reading now, what are you excited about? Or actually, alternative question, is there a book that is hyped right now that you hate and you can't like annoys you that it's so in the media right now and everybody's telling you about it and you're totally not interested in it? Because these phenomena happen too, that in our circle of friends and acquaintances people come up and go like, you gotta read this book, gotta, like me with the three body problem, for example. And as a matter of fact, I was at the kiosk a few weeks ago buying a new Perry Roden. You might notice that here's a big Perry Roden wall on the wall with old covers. No show without Perry Roden. And the clerk, and I was talking to the clerk, and the clerk was reading, and I was talking about Perry Roden and stuff, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I read Perry Roden like 40 years ago," and I go like, "Yeah, but it's so good now, the new guys they can completely compete with like the awesome sci-fi that's coming out of China right now, like the Three Body Problem." And then she said, "The Three Body Problem, yeah, I started that. I didn't like it." And I go, "Oh my God, you gotta try it." So I was so annoying with her. I was so persistent with her. We had a great conversation, but I was like, I'm not leaving here until I have in writing that you try the three body problem again." Roxy saying Melissa Therese for me mostly, but I revisit Brave New World because it's a world I can get lost in. Roxy, please, if you have a link to the book you mentioned, from Melissa Therese, please post it here, and we post it here on the prim. Uh, Brave New World is very, very important. If you haven't read Brave New World, please do, because everybody is citing, you know, uh, 1984 as sort of the thing that are we in 1984, authoritarian rule and double speak and whatnot. And of course, 1984 is a very important book. But of the two big dystopian visions of that era, Brave New World is to me and to many other scholars actually the more realistic one, the one that we're arguably much closer because in Brave New World, the folks are voluntarily basically drugging themselves to not be engaged with reality. So they don't have to be oppressed by they don't have to be beaten into submission in an authoritarian setting. They enslave themselves with this drug called soma, and so basically constant entertainment. Many other books like this, but the prototype was Brave New World. I think came out in 1932. So if you haven't read it, go get. Okay, so here's Roxy. Let's see here. Big Second Life building skills. I'm cutting and pasting. Cut. And then I'm pasting here it on the prim. Boom. Let's see what's happens. Hello. Here we go. Behind her eyes. Ooh, a steamy age gap romance. Now, Rox, you need to define what an age gap romance is. We got so many new genres that I don't know anything about. I'm supposed to know everything, right? Hello, Fifi Blackheart. Welcome on the YouTube stream. So, behind her eyes, a steamy age gap romance. All it takes is one cold lie to ruin the recipe for perfect love. 5 years ago, Abby was in culinary school and dreaming of working at Adley's, a Michelin-starred restaurant, and for its equally delectable owner. Instead, she's alone broke out of friendly couches to sleep on. Okay, very good. But then what's the age gap? Is that young women, old men? Younger woman loves an older lady. LGBTQ plus. That is very cool. I was afraid, Roxy, honestly, that you were gonna say this is like an adult loving young boys, which is problematic to say the least. And frankly unacceptable to in my book to be promoted because it is frankly abusive and exploitative. But that is pretty cool. So this is its own genre. I love it. I love it. I love. We had a guest once, Zelda Knight, and she was um, talking about genres. She was so like rattling off these genres, vampire, detective, and raunchy bit of fun. Summer Escape, absolutely. Roxy, I totally approve. Um, I love it, and yeah, then she is. I gotta try one of these. We gotta really broaden our guest list as well to bring in people from genres that I have absolutely no idea about. Very cool. So now, I have something prepared. I have a bunch of things prepared. First of all, nobody asked me what I'm reading. Well, surprise. I'm reading Perry Roden. Okay, here we go. Perry Roden, again, about 60 plus pages. It's actually I counted it because these are bigger, like pulp magazines, so they are amount to about 120 pages novellas, basically, or a little bit less every week, and I'm catching up to the current one. This is this is an amazing. I love this one, Die Gilde der Kidnapper, The Guild of the Kidnappers by Susan Schwartz. This came out last year. Again, I'm catching up to the current one, and it's hard because they come out every week. Look at these different races here. That they just the imagination of these different. I mean, Star Trek has a lot of different races because they explore the universe and the galaxies and so on and so forth. But it's a fraction of what's happening in Para Rodent. It is so insanely complex. This is the last one I read. I don't know why this is out of focus. The resolution is bad. But this one, Gustav is looking at this one. Look at it. I gotta take a picture of Gustav looking at it. Maybe Gustav can get a dog subscription, which is cheaper. But anyways, I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on on Perun. I just want to say this Immer Patengrund, which I just read, is very much never-ending story like. It's completely bizarre. It completely changes from the previous one, and they are in a world of strange worms that are totally apathetic, and they need a drug to even get going, and it's hilarious. And there is a cyborg turtle that is also a fisherman who fishes people who stream from one universe to the others. It's so bizarrely surreal, and they have 32 writers. Perry Roden does, and they come up with this stuff every week, so it's pretty damn cool. All right, this is the obligatory Perry Roden thing, and now I would like uh, Jared the Bot to actually, Kitten Duo and the folks on the YouTube stream, there's 5 people watching right now. What are you guys reading? I need to know. I want to know. And actually, oh, wait a minute. Since we have web on a prim, I can type Perry Roden into the Goodreads engine and see what's coming up. Oh, it wants me to sign in. I don't want to sign in. How many search results? 4,958. That's not that many. Anyways, I said no more Perry Roden content. So, folks on the YouTube stream, let us please chime in. In the meantime, our friend Jared the Bot is putting out a link for the folks in the world because this is my little real life video that I shot. And we're going to watch my little real life video. And what this is about is something that in America is in America they have the thing called the Little Free Library. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. But the Little Free Library is essentially people who uh, in front of their homes, they put a little. Sometimes they're incredibly well crafted little, mostly wooden little boxes with glass fronts, and they have books in there. People can take books out, and people can put books in. So my understanding is that in America, this is primarily a private phenomenon, right? Um, Here in Germany, I gotta take a picture of Gustav. In Germany, in Munich, this is called der Bücherschrank, yeah? The book cupboard or book armoire or book closet. And this is run by the neighborhood, and this is on a public space, and it's a little bit bigger. It's like an actual closet, and same principle. People put books in, people take books out. Um, Kitten Duo on the YouTube chat says, I have one set up in my front yard. I actually don't know where Kitten lives. I'm assuming you live in the US. So you have that. And Kitten, if you like, describe a little bit how yours look because it's really amazing. I don't have any uh, pictures here, but the town we lived in California, they had such amazing little booths there. A wonderful creativity in the presentational form alone. Little Brad says we have one like that in town in a old telephone kiosk, and Bunny says we have several in the Netherlands called Mini Bibliothek. Ah, yeah, same principle, Mini Bibliothek, and in Germany called Bücherschrank. And I filmed a little video where I was going up to my local Bücherschrank, and we're gonna watch that in a second. But again, let me just say that I love this concept. And what I found amazing is that sometimes you find actually uh, great books in there. Sometimes you do find somebody who dumps like Windows 95 tutorials, some other garbage. Sorry, Bill Gates. Um, but there are invisible helping hands of some volunteers, and every like I almost go there every day, and then I find that they clean it up and they sort it out, and maybe they have a deal with the library and they restock some stuff. And then the other interesting phenomenon is that you find, I don't know, little Brad Bunny, chime in here, if you have similar books all the time reoccurring. So that is of course an understandable phenomenon. Sometimes you find people like bestsellers or something, and then they are going like people buy it because it's in the news or whatever, or Oprah's book club, and they buy it and they go like, yeah, that wasn't that great, and so they put it in a little free library. But the other phenomenon that I found is that a lot of books in my local Bücherschrank are from what I assume is actually high school students discarding them. And these are the same books that I read in high school. Now, some of them are very good, especially sort of these post war German writers, Heinrich Böll, Günter Grass, Alfred Anders, and so on. Max Frisch, he was actually Swiss, a fantastic author. I'm going to do a show on Max Frisch at some point. But so I found those also understandable. High school students go like, "What? I'm never going to read this crap again. Let's put it in there." And I'm like, "Dude, this is awesome." And what I do, I have 4 copies of the same Heinrich Böll book at home. Now, don't judge me, or do you think like that's mean that I actually take the good stuff for myself, but then I keep it at home and then I give it away to friends because I think these books are very important. So Kitten Duo says here, mine little free library has a glass front and it looks kind of like a house and it holds around 15 to 20 books, says Kitten Duo here on the local chat. Now, I wonder, Kitten Duo, if what people do you put books, good books in there? I'm assuming, or do people put good books in there, or do people put bad books in there? I'm wondering if I can bring in the stream here, but that makes no sense. And we can see the Oh, look at this. Now we can see Kitten Duo's chat right here. Here we go. The mirror in the mirror. Kitten Duo says mine has a glass front. So Kitten, let us know, please. I'm really curious if people, if in your, again, in your opinion, if people put sort of crap in there, or if you feel, hey, wow, they're actually putting really good stuff in there. And then the related question, do you take that stuff out, right? Do you take it out of book for yourself, or do you just sort of monitor it? Do you kind of curate it? Do you take out the really bad stuff? Wait a minute. Um, I have found a few bad ones. Usually there are good ones. So very interesting, Kitten. Hold on, I'm struggling with my new. Here we go. Let's do it this way, a little bigger, and then we can zoom in here. Found a few bad ones, but usually they're good ones. And Kitten, do you put your own books in there as well, or you just let this go where it goes? Those are my follow-up questions. Now, where was I? Oh yeah, the real life video, the real life video. And now I'm going to play the real life video that I prepared from my Bücherschrank to get you a feeling of my Bücherschrank. And let's see, how do we do this? Ah, yeah. And I'm going to say 3, 2, 1. And then the in-world folks can click on the link that Jared the bot put out there earlier. And here we go.
Okay, folks. Today I want to show you, and I'm filming this in portrait mode, which I hate when people do because my video work is in 16:9. This is a free book exchange box, like a Schrank they call it here in Germany, and they're all over the place in the city. I don't know, every neighborhood has them, but they're not like the little free library in the US, in that they're not on private property. They're on public areas, and they're run by neighborhood groups that have approval from the city. So this one's open here, and look at, so I'm going here every day. Look at this, Cory Doctorow, little brother. Who puts that stuff out? That's amazing. Günter Grass, also a German legend of post-war. And here, what do I spy with my little eye? Metro 2034. And I always wanted to read this by Dmitry Glukovsky. Always wanted to read this. Shall I get it? Do I have time to read it? Now you're supposed to give and take, right? It's a give and take. It's not a just take. Of course, I didn't read the memo. I'm just taking stuff. And so this is my neighborhood. The next one would be about maybe 5 kilometers over. I don't know how many there are in the city. Oh yeah, this is for children down here. Children and youth, young adult stuff. And what is very interesting, sometimes it's completely full, very chaotic. Oh look, Top Secret. My son used to love those. Those are actually pretty good. I think this is a British author. Robert Muckamore. I think he's British or Irish or whatever. Whatever. He's not American, so he can't be any good. I don't know why I have my American accent. So, and sometimes it's completely chaotic, and then I come back the next day, and it's somehow cleaned up and straightened out and everything. So I suspect, I don't know, that there's sort of people, not Gustav, you can't do that stuff, you can't be hired, that there's people coming by here and straightening this thing out, and maybe also throwing away some stuff that is not, it doesn't, you know, like one time I saw like an old like Windows 98 tutorial. So some people do put their junk in there. And you join Grisham, of course there's a lot of you know, what you call it, Sinclair Lewis. Oh my god, I was just talking to someone about Sinclair Lewis, of course, author of It Can't Happen Here. See, this is in German. You will also find English and other languages here. But Sinclair Lewis, It Can't Happen Here, this is not this one, but 1935. Sort of thinking about a fascist rise in America. While he was looking over to Europe, he said this can actually happen here, because everyone says it can't happen. We're not like the Germans. Küsschen, Küsschen, Roald Dahl. Look at this cover. I might take that. I take some kids' books when we have visitors, so that they don't sit in front of their machines and become part of the screen generation. Sometimes I feel like I gotta take the really good stuff, and sometimes I feel I shouldn't, because other people should be exposed to it, and then I come back and then those books are gone, and that makes me actually feel good, because I'm assuming that somebody took them. Here's Erich Maria Remarque, Nothing New on the Western Front, he wrote, and other anti-war books, a great author. But Gustav, we gotta get going. Gustav, hello. Gustav. No books today. No books. Can't even read with the fur going over his eyes. Come on. So, we'll go on this way. This is actually where my grandparents got married in 1930. Let's see. 1938, 39, 40. I don't remember. I have it in my photo album. Everything else is new and ugly. But this building is beautiful. City Hall. This what used to be its own town, but now it's part of Munich. All right. Bye.
All right. That was a little glimpse into the physical realm, and yeah, that Metro 2034 book, that was gone. I was gonna take that, but I didn't want to take it that day. Yeah. Anyways, so this is the offene Bücherschrank, and let me see here in the local chat. Bunny says, I sometimes have a meeting with someone in the neighborhood in the park and we exchange books. That is awesome. That's awesome. Also, Kitten says on the local chat, where's the local chat? She says, I monitor, yeah, her little free library that's in front of her house. Just I just monitor it and I take the bad ones out. I put some of my own books in there. And then Kitten says when my aunt died back in March, she had a lot of books, so I put some of them in there. I put out some kids' books too, and they got fast, and some of them they go fast, and some of them I get back, and the kids take other books. That is super nice. Now I can't scroll further down. Oh yeah, I can. I have to scroll here. Oh, we get the mirror in the mirror in the mirror. And then Kitten says, I've had people bring books to my door for me to put out over time, and I love it. That is amazing that you have that reputation in the neighborhood. See, this is very cool. No, you're not rambling. This is fantastic, Kitten. This is really, really interesting that you have become, not the kitten lady in your neighborhood apparently, but the book lady. So people go like, yeah, I gotta get rid of them books. Where should we give it? Where should we dump it? In the garbage? In a landfill? No, we're gonna give it to Kitten Duo here, and she's gonna put it out in a little free library. So this is the reputation I want to have. Kitten, you're very inspiring to me. You're inspiring me. I want to have this reputation in my neighborhood. Currently, unfortunately, my reputation is more the guy who talks too much. When he gets excited and he rambles about Perry Road, and then people change the side of the street they're walking on to avoid me. But I can change that. Kitten is the cat and the book lady. Yeah, so I'm the crazy Perry Road guy. A matter of fact, today I was at my used bookstore that I love so much, and I kid you not, I was in the bookstore. I don't have God, I'm gonna send you. I swear. Oh, next week we have a guest. For God's sakes, because I should make a little mini video of this. It's an amazing place. So crammed full of books. It's insane. It looks like the place in the Never-Ending Story in the movie, but it's a antiquity antique bookstore. But anyways, so I was in the store today talking with the proprietor, and I had €5. I was like, okay, I'm gonna spend €5 on Perry Roden. So these are the ones I bought, and I bought a few more for 5. Got a good deal. And so I was talking to her, and they have a box outside, and there's some foot traffic, right? So I'm talking to the lady who owns the store, who I know, talk inside, and then we see these three elder men and one woman walking outside and putting sort of and looking into bargain bin where they have also some Perry Roden, some bargain 10-cent bin. And one of the and I look at the guy and I say to the owner, say, look at them, look at they're coming in, they're coming in because they're struggling. This store is struggling. I mean, it's a niche type of thing, right? Uh, and people don't read. People read digitally or they don't read at all, whatever. But they're struggling, pay rent, and keeping the store going. So we're like, we gotta get these guys in here. And then I overhear the one guy saying the magic word. He's like, "Oh my God, they have some old Perry Roden from the '70s. I used to read Perry Roden." And the woman says, "What is Perry Roden?" And I'm like a crazy person. I run out of the store. Hey, did you guys talk about Perry Roden just now? This store has an entire wall full of Perry. You gotta come in. And I like, the carnival barker, come in, like a crazy person. They look at me like, who is this crazy person? We're not gonna go to the store. No, it wasn't that bad, but I was aware that I came across a little bit crazy. Uh, but it's true. I mean, they have an entire wall full of Perry. But anyways, these guys were not coming in, and I went inside. The owner did not mind. She didn't think that I was the one, scaring them away. She said, "Ah, they're going into the city, and then they're coming back. They're going for lunch or whatever, or dinner. They're out of town, or they're going in the city and they're eating, and then they're coming back maybe, and then they're going to buy some Perry Road." And I go like, "That's cool." Little Brad is like that. Look at this manga. Oh, buy the manga, 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 manga. Well, it's for a good cause, you know. We're not selling heroin, so that's good. Okay, 10 minutes left. I'm gonna tease you guys this author that is coming next week, which is Gabriella Houston. And I just started reading this book today, and this is actually something that I know that goes to the taste of Kitten. Here, let me actually bring up the image for next week. This is Gabriella Houston, and this is her avatar. She's a bear with a crown of flowers. Ruby made this one. It's a bear off the shelf, pretty much, but she got the flower bouquet. So, and her book, she has two books that we're going to talk about. The one I'm reading is called The Second Bell. Now, what's the premise? Hold on, let me get rid of this cube. It drives me crazy. What's the premise of this book? Fascinating. There's a village in an undescribed town, world, whatever. There's a village, and some babies are born with two hearts. Okay? And the village is very superstitious. And what they do with the mothers who are pregnant or who give birth to kids with two hearts, what they do is cruel. They force these young mothers to get rid of these babies, abandon them, kill them, or put them out in the woods, or the young mothers are expelled from this little village. And this happens in the beginning of the book where one young mother chooses to leave the village and go to another village of outcasts, outcast women who give birth to these babies with two hearts. Now, the two hearts in this village where they're accepted, um, these kids, and then they grow up, they are not uh, happy with this two heart thing. They accept it, but they also want to suppress it. And this is fascinating to me. This is where I am right now, page 70 or so. This second village of all the outcasts, they cast out themselves and they cast out people who listen to the second heart. So the whole thing that the second village does, all the people with the two hearts, yes, they can live there, but they need to follow the following rule. They need to suppress what the second heart does. Now, what does the second heart do? The second heart has magical powers. The second heart has the power to heal wounds, but it also has the power to kill. It's a dangerous power that these babies have. And I believe they're all no, they're both genders, so they're male and female. And so the girl, one of the girls actually uses her power to heal a lamb. She steals a lamb, and then the lamb gets killed by some other guy who is a mean dude, and she decides to heal the lamb with her second heart. And then the village finds out and also then abandons her, forces her to go into the woods with her falcon. She only has a falcon that's her best friend, Munu, and live in the forest, in the dark forest of the winter for 3 months to basically repent. Huh, Little Bread? Sounds like Norway. Anyways, it's a fascinating story. It's based on old folk tales. The author is from Poland originally. Kitten, thank you so much. Kitten, thank you for your support. Kitten just super chatted us and is keeping the lights on, the virtual lights. Thank you, and also welcome Hawklore TV on the YouTubes. But Kitten, um, thank you. Without you, well, we're not gonna shut down because we at least keep the Sims, but it does help, and I distribute this money to the team and get to buy avatars and accessories for our guests. Now, I'm gonna read a little bit from the second bell, but again, the premise is amazing. And so right now in the story, we're at the point where this young woman, she's 19, and her name is Salka. She's abandoned, or she was forced to go out to the Windry Pass because, again, she used the second heart to heal this lamb. And another thing about the second heart phenomenon is that the second heart is visible through a shadow. So it's like a shadowy person that emerges, right? When it's time, when you decide to listen to the heart. Again, you're not supposed to listen to it, even in this community of people who are expelled from the normal life. So this is super interesting. It's like continuous expulsion First from normality because you have a second heart, and then from this second heart community because you listen to it, right? Um, I'm going to start reading from chapter 13. And here we are at the Windry Pass. Salka is all alone except for her falcon Munu, and she has no resources. She hunts for her food. Munu helps her. But again, this is the punishment from the village elders who expelled her to suffer for her decision to use the second heart power. The first 20 days in the Windry Pass were hard for Salka, but the following 10 were worse still. The food she had brought from home was rarely dipped into, but the pitifully small pile of it kept growing smaller. So she got some food from her mother, yeah. Salka told herself it was to be expected as it took time to set up the traps and to find the parts of the freezing stream where the fish might be found, and in the meantime she had to eat. But as the night once more fell all too soon, catching her hungry and cold at a distance from the safety of her hut, Salka felt tears come unbidden to her eyes. She tried to force them back, a sign of shameful self-pity, but they glistened still on her long eyelashes, turning into tiny balls of ice as the cold gripped her. A sudden warmth spread over her shoulders, and she knew it was her shadow's unbidden comfort. She would shake it off. Any moment she would, but she luxuriated in the warmth of it for half a breath too long. Finally, she pushed it away, though she felt the struggle of it more than before. In the first days of her arrival, she had waited for the taint of her Striga heart to spread. That's the second heart. She thought it would feel different and was vigilant for any signs she might be turning into a Stigoi. The Stigoi are the people who listen to the second heart, right? But she noticed no change in herself beyond the ease with which her shadow would leap to assist her if she relaxed in her resistance. But there were no changes in her desire or thoughts, not that she could tell at least. She had no desire to hurt or kill beyond satisfying the needs of her body. She still resisted the shadow, of course, though she felt it push back now, in a way she never had before the lamb's healing. The bird was hatched, as it were, and it voiced its demands for a share of Salka's life, much like a fledgling would. She wondered if she resisted for long enough, if she could starve her Striga heart and bring it back in line. She somehow doubted it and shivered with the shame of that knowledge. She walked towards the hut, the moonlight reflected in the snow through the path immediately in front of though the path immediately in front of her always seemed a bit too dark. She tripped over a root and fell face first into the snow, scattering all the branches she'd gathered that evening. She gasped as some of the snow fell behind her collar and melted into an icy trickle on her neck. She punched the root in frustration and yelped in pain. She leaned against a tall pine to stand up and pulled herself up, digging into its rough bark with her fingers. She was cold, and there was no wood in the house. Remembering what Pike said, how Marcus had drawn on the tree's life to heal malaria, curiosity overtook her. Now, Marcus is another one who was expelled from the folks of the Second Heart because he healed a friend of his. And again, he was not supposed to use the powers for good or evil of the Second Heart. She walked up to a smaller tree, barely taller than her, and placed her hand on it. It couldn't hurt, not any more than what she'd already done. And she was too cold to look for the scattered branches which were barely enough to last her through the night. She was alone. Nobody would ever know. She searched for the place inside her where she heard the humming of her second heart and pulled on it. Salka opened her eyes. Nothing happened. She held her breath and grabbed the sapling as hard as her icy fingers would let her. Nothing. She let go. Frustrated, she sat in the snow and groaned. She was not a Stigoi after all, then. Much comfort it would be to her frozen corpse. A silent sob took her back. She shouldn't cry. Tears would just freeze on her cheeks and hurt her, as everything hurt in these mountains. Struggling to control her breath, Salka exhaled slowly to calm herself, and as she did so, she felt something quicken inside her chest. A small tendril wrapped itself around the sapling, digging into the soft bark. A sudden sensation of warmth wrapped itself around her shoulders like a warm cloak. She let herself sink into it and luxuriated in it as feeling returned to her freezing toes and fingers. There was a sound no louder than a baby's breath as needles began to fall from the sapling. She reached with her gloved hand and picked up a needle. It was dry and brittle. She pulled on the trunk, which snapped with a sad little sound as if it had been dead and dry for months. She looked at it with a mix of joy and regret. It had been a lush green thing only moments earlier. The cost of her warmth had been great. She grunted as she picked up the fallen tree. Though her hand closed with ease around the trunk, it was not as simple to drag it back. But she would be warm that night at least. She whispered a thanks, which felt proper and right to her, though she couldn't say to what or to whom she was grateful. She looked towards the moon. She still felt no different than before, though she could breathe a bit more easy perhaps. No scales sprouted from her skin, no fangs grew in her mouth. There were no outward signs that there was anything different in her, but a resolve began to form inside Salka. A small but hard thing it was. She would not be cold any more if she could keep herself warm. And that's it. So Salka here, she uses the second heart power to basically get a tree to become a firewood that she can use. The Second Bell by Gabriella Houston, before I sink it in the ground. Really fascinating, coming of age, learning your, you know, the powers, the dangerous powers of women. I mean, there's a lot of subtext here, of course. Um, but it's powerful. And so far all the guys are pretty bad and scheming and mean, and the mothers protect them. Um, because they're their babies. So really good stuff. That's it, my friends. That's the hour. I gotta be brutal. Um, Roxy is putting something about Linden Labs. I don't know who Linden Labs are. I know who Linden Lab is. It's a singular. Sorry, that's like my OCD. But yeah. So next week again, we're also going back to the 12 o'clock hour, uh, the 12 o'clock Second Life hour, and very much looking forward. I'm going to continue to read this. Check out Gabriela Houston. Seek her out YouTube. There's a couple of great interviews, and check out her work. I mean, this is it's amazing how lucky we get, or I get as the main guy who reads and preps these books with the authors or with the work, because generally speaking, I really love all that stuff. As diverse as it is, I haven't come across complete crap yet. Um, and here's my phone reminder, folks. I gotta go. What song should we play us out? Thank you, Kitten. Thanks for watching on YouTube. All the others watching, Fifi, Hawklord, I don't know who else is out there, folks that are in world. Not gonna name you twice. Bunny, Jared, Roxy, Little Brat, and Flenza. Flenza didn't tell us what he reads, but that's okay. I know it's probably Perry Road related, so that's cool. And I'll see you next week. Again, next week is gonna be we're back to full promotional things, so we're capping at 40 to avoid lag, and it will get full. I'm pretty convinced. So we're going to play us out with a song called When I Will Finally Grow Up. It's one of my favorite songs. Uh, Not one of my favorite songs that I wrote myself. I don't think I'm the greatest songwriter at all. I'm just saying that this, I'm very critical of my own stuff. I can't listen to my own stuff actually for the most part, but this one I actually like. So we're gonna take us out with this, and I see you all next week, I hope. Goodbye.
And when I finally grow up, I will let you know. Oh, I will let you know. I still play with Lego and Knott's Berry Farm is one of my favorites. Oh, I'm doing no harm. I'm just silly and I like to laugh. I leave a dripping wet trail every time I take a bath. Every time I take a bath. Oh, I made up my own language and I talk to the cats. Shall I be trusted? Oh, I can't answer that. I might be annoying with my baby voice. I don't want to force you. Please make your own choice. Please make your own choice. And when I finally grow up, I will let you know. Oh, I will let you know. I'm sick of this challenge. I'm so sick. The grown-ups must face. I much rather eat candy and jump rope with grace. I love to be lazy on weekdays and such. I copy my homework on Monday. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And when I finally grow up, I will let you know. I will let you know. And when I finally grow up, I will let you know. I will let you know. And when I finally grow up, I will give you a call.